Hi, in this video I will show you the best methods to blur or obscure in Kdenlive, from the quick and easy to advanced and awesome. Let's dive in. This is a screen recording of a common sign-in interface where you may want to hide private details. In the first method, we will blur the entire frame for the complete duration of the video. Navigate to the Effects tab. Here you can expand, blur and sharpen, or you can search for blur to view all blur effects. Just click and drag the blur effect you like onto the video clip to blur the entire video clip. Select the clip and you will see the Gaussian Blur in Effects and Composition stack window. Here we can specify the effect parameters. We can make changes like increase or decrease the sigma level. Gaussian blur is one of the most common and natural looking blur effects used in video editing. It works by taking each pixel and blending it with its neighboring pixels using a smooth bell-shaped curve called the Gaussian curve. Pixels near the center are given more weight and pixels further away are given less. This creates a soft, even blur that gently smoothens out the details without creating harsh edges. Let's say you want to apply the blur effect just to a portion of the video. The easiest way to do it is by splitting the clip and applying it to the part you want. Let's delete this blur effect by clicking the trash can icon inside Effects and Composition stack window and move the playhead to where the typing starts. Use keyboard shortcut Shift+R to cut the clip at the playhead. Now, as we did before, drag and drop the blur effect like so. Also notice that Gaussian blur effect has keyframes. Keyframes allows us to change the effect properties over time, such as position, size, or opacity. So we can use keyframes to apply the blur effect to a portion of the video clip. We will discuss more in depth about keyframes later. Let's say you want to hide only a region of the frame, like the email and password region of this login interface. For such applications, we can use Obscure effect. Search for the Obscure effect and drag and drop it onto the clip. You will see a red rectangle appearing in the project monitor. Use the handles to change the rectangle size and click and drag the center to move the rectangle around. We will place it over the email region, and if you like, we can drag and drop another obscure effect and place it over the password. Notice that obscure effect does not have any keyframes, so the effect is applied to the complete duration of the clip. In Kdenlive, obscure uses pixelation. Pixelation works by reducing the resolution of a selected area of your video. First, you draw a mask over the region you want to hide. Then Kdenlive takes that region and shrinks it down to a very small grid, destroying all the fine details. Next, it stretches that tiny low-resolution image back to the original size. Because it's blown up using sharp edges, each tiny block becomes a big square, creating the familiar pixelation look. This process completely removes information, making the hidden area impossible to recover. It is one of the most effective and most secure ways to censor sensitive details in your video. Let's say you don't like the pixelation look of the obscure effect and you want to add another blur style to a region of the clip. Masking lets you blur one region of the video instead of the whole frame. You start by creating a mask, basically a shape. Then the blur effect is applied inside the shape. Everything outside the shape stays sharp and untouched. We need to add 3 effects in sequence. The sequence is important to apply the effect correctly. First, in Effects tab, search for Alpha Shapes mask and drag and drop it to the clip. On the project monitor, you will see a region of the clip and the rest of the frame is blacked out. So this visible region is the mask area. You can use the handles to change the size of the mask. You can click and drag the center to move it to a desired position. You can also change the shape of the mask. by clicking the drop down next to shape. You can choose from the built-in shapes. I personally find it quite tedious to position the mask with the blacked out frame. What I do is add other effects and come back to the mask position at the end. Let's now add the blur effect by searching Gaussian Blur in Effects panel and drag and drop it to the clip. And finally search for Mask Apply and drag and drop it to the clip. Now we can adjust the mask position by clicking the Alpha Shape mask in Effects Composition Stack window. We can move and resize the mask. In this method, you can see the effect already applied when moving the mask around. Now if we hit play, we can see only the selected region is blurred. Let's say you want to blur a moving object where its size or position change throughout the clip. For that, we need to use keyframes. Keyframes are like anchor points that tell your video how to change over time. You set a keyframe at the beginning with one value and another keyframe later with a different value. Kdenlive fills in everything in between automatically and create a smooth animation. We will blur the number plates of these cars. So as we did before, we need to add 3 effects in sequence. Press drag and drop the Alpha Shapes mask, then Gaussian Blur, then Mask Apply, effects to the clip. Then click the Alpha Shape mask in Effects Composition Stack window and move and resize the mask over the number plate. Now we are going to track the number plate position using keyframes. Scroll down in Effects Composition Stack window to Gaussian Blur and set the sigma and vertical sigma value to 20. This will hide the number plate better. Click the Alpha Shape mask, move few frames forward by pressing the right arrow key until the number plate starts to move outside of the masked area. Set a keyframe by clicking the stopwatch icon, add keyframe, and reposition the mask over the number plate. Move few more frames forward and add another keyframe and reposition the mask again. Continue to position the mask over the number plate and adjust the size if required. Follow the number plate movement throughout the clip. In this clip, there are 2 scenes with number plates that we need to blur. I will show you how to use keyframes to apply the effect to only part of a clip. Here, I will keep the mask unchanged and control the intensity of the blur effect. Scroll down in Effects and Composition Stack window to Gaussian Blur and add a keyframe where the first number plate moves out of the frame. Notice no change in value for this keyframe. Then move 1 frame forward and add another keyframe and change the sigma value to 0. You will notice the blur effect is virtually removed. Let's watch the video from the beginning. The mask is changing its position and size according to the keyframe settings, allowing the number plate to be blurred. Now, why did I add 2 keyframes next to each other? The distance between the keyframe controls the speed of your animation or the effect change rate. If keyframes are far apart, the animation becomes slow and smooth. If 2 keyframes are close together, the animation or the effect changes quickly. Here, in the span of 2 frames, Gaussian blur sigma value goes from 20 to 0. Let me show you what happens when I delete this middle keyframe. Click on the middle keyframe. Notice the keyframe color changing from white to red, indicating the selection. Then click the stopwatch icon with the minus sign. Delete keyframe. Now click the first keyframe, which is the start of the clip, and hit play. Notice the sigma value is decreasing from 20 to 0 gradually. Let's watch the video from the beginning. This gradual decrease will expose the number plate along the way. Now let's move forward until the next number plate appears. Add keyframes in Alpha Shape mask and Gaussian blur effects. Then move one keyframe forward and add another keyframe and set the sigma and vertical sigma value to 20. Scroll up to Alpha Shape Mask and add another keyframe and reposition the mask over the number plate, and keep adding keyframes and reposition the mask in Alpha Shape Mask. Use the handlers to change the shapes and size of the mask. Keyframing and changing the mask manually will give you great control over object tracking, but it is a time-consuming process. We can use the motion tracking effect to speed up the keyframing process. Kdenlive's motion tracking automatically follows a moving object in your video, like a face, a car, or in this case, the number plate. You draw a selection box around the object, choose a tracking algorithm, and Kdenlive generates a path. Add in keyframes and adjust in the tracking position. You can attach a blur, image, or a mask to that path so it stays locked onto that object as it moves. I'll use the first part of the same clip to demonstrate motion tracking. Navigate to the Effects tab and search for Motion Tracking. Drag and drop the effect to the clip. Start on the first frame of the clip. This is important, and you will notice the red rectangle appear in Project Monitor. Move the rectangle over the number plate and use the handlers to change the shape and move its position. Now let's set motion tracking parameters in Effects Composition Stack window. There are a few tracking algorithms we can use, each with their strengths and weaknesses. This table summarizes each algorithm's processing speed, their strength, when best to use them, and their weaknesses to watch out for. We will use the default KCF algorithm for now. Then you can set keyframe spacing. For fast changing videos, use smaller keyframe spacing, and for gradual changing ones, higher keyframe spacing would be fine. We can also change the frame shape by selecting a shape from the drop-down. I will keep the rectangular shape. Then we have the shape border width and color. We will come back to them later. Then set the blur value to 20 and blur type to Gaussian Blur. Make sure that the playhead is at the beginning of the clip and click Analyze to apply effect button. The program will process the motion tracking according to the selected algorithm. You will see the keyframes created according to the given keyframe spacing. On the project monitor, you will see the motion tracking path with little X marks. You can play the clip or move the playhead to see how the mask is following the number plate. Notice close to the end of the clip, the mask is not covering the number plate completely. The position of the mask is closely following the number plate, but the size of the mask has not changed properly. If we check the scale parameter from keyframe to keyframe, we can see that the scale has not changed from the start of the clip to the end. It seems that the algorithm has not captured the scale changes. Why is that? Let's go back to the algorithm summary table. The KCF, or kernelized correlation filter, is a fast-acting algorithm that's suitable for rigid objects with constant appearance. Its main weakness is detecting scale changes. So this is not the suitable algorithm for this video. For this kind of video, it is recommended to use CSRT algorithm. It is one of the most accurate algorithms that can handle scale changes. Let's redo the analysis with CSRT algorithm. From the drop-down, select CSRT algorithm and click Reset button. Go back to the beginning of the clip by clicking the first keyframe and click Analyze to apply effect again. CSRT algorithm will take longer time to process with heavier load on the CPU. With the CSRT algorithm, we can see that the scale parameter has changed from keyframe to keyframe throughout the video. Let's see how it looks in the project monitor. That looks really good. The algorithm has struck the motion and the scale change of the number plate and applied the Gaussian blur over the area. You can always make adjustments manually by clicking the keyframe and changing its parameters, or even add new keyframes. So what about the red rectangle? It's not going anywhere. In fact, if you export the video now, it will have the red rectangle. So how to get rid of it? As of Kdenlive 25.08, the latest version, the motion tracker's built-in blur option always shows the tracking box because the tracker preview box is rendered as part of the effect. There is a workaround for this limitation if the immediate surrounding area has consistent color. Inside Effect Composition Stack window, we can set the shape width parameter to 0. Click the eyedropper icon next to the shape color and select the color around the masked area. In this case, the color of the car. Let's play back the clip. Now this is only a shortcut. The professional method is to track the motion first, then apply a mask, then apply blur effect inside the mask. Let's start over. Redo the motion tracking with CSRT algorithm. Set the blur type to none and click Analyze to apply effect. When the processing is done, click the hamburger menu icon and select Copy all keyframes to clipboard. Now the motion track path and bounding box geometry is copied to the clipboard. Next step is to apply a mask. So drag and drop Alpha Shape mask to the clip. In Alpha Shape mask, go to the first keyframe and click the hamburger menu icon and select Import keyframes from clipboard. In the pop-up window, we can control the import parameters like start point, duration, time offset of the keyframes. I will keep them unchanged. Here, the geometry of the Alpha Shape mask is mapped or squeezed into the motion tracked rectangle shape. Untick limit keyframe numbers and click OK. Then drag and drop Gaussian blur and mask apply effects to the clip. We can disable or even delete the motion tracker now. We don't need it anymore. You can see the Alpha Shape mask is following the number plate position and geometry. We can set the Gaussian blur sigma value to 20. If I collapse the effects, you can see the familiar sequence: Alpha Shape mask, Gaussian blur, and mask apply. The keyframes generated by the motion tracker can be used in other clips as well. Let me show you how to attach an image over the car bumper using the copied keyframe. I will place the image clip over the original video clip. Then we need to add an effect with keyframes so we can import the copied keyframes. We will add transform effect to the image clip. In transform, click the hamburger menu icon and select import keyframes from clipboard. In the pop-up window, we can select different mapping methods like position. In this way, only the position details are used. As this is a large image, I will select geometry again. You can see the image is squeezed over the number plate. We can also add some offset. Untick limit keyframe numbers and click OK. Now it looks like a bumper sticker. It is still following the number plate position and geometry change with the given offset. Finally, let's say you want to hide an irregular shaped object that won't fit into Alpha Shape mask. Then you can use Rotoscoping mask to manually draw the required mask shape. Let's use this video where a person's face appears in part of the clip. First, split the clip from the point the face appears to the point the face disappears. We will only need to use masking in this area. Navigate to the Effects tab and search for Rotoscoping mask and drag and drop it on the clip. Start on the first frame. You need to draw the mask shape on the project monitor. Click to add points around the face, following the face shape. The more points you add, the more control you will have over the mask shape. At the end, right-click or press Enter to complete the shape. After that, we follow the same process as we did with the Alpha Shape mask. Go ahead and add Gaussian Blur and mask apply effects to the clip. Now use keyframes and change the rotoscoping mask shape to follow the face. Move one frame forward and add a new keyframe. Click in the center of the shape to move it over the face. Use the handles to change the shape and the size of the mask. Keep moving forward frame by frame and add keyframes and change the mask to cover the face shape and position. This is the most manually demanding and time-consuming method to blur objects. It should really be used when the earlier discussed methods fail to provide the expected result. I will fast forward the process to show the final result. There you go. The face is blurred without affecting the surrounding area. Don't forget to include the discussed methods in your next video editing process. Start with the simple ones. They usually cover most of the applications and move to the more advanced methods if required. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Cheers!